That's Interesting podcast, where we explore forms of everyday technology that impact every generation, from purpose to relationships and personal growth. If you in your car, on lunch break, or chilling on the couch at home, get ready to have real talk, honest insights, and conversations that make you think. Now that's interesting. Now let's talk about it with our host D.
Hello, everyone. It's so good to be back with you another week, episode 2. Man, just want to say thank you to everybody who has been supporting and who's been inboxing, texting, calling, all of that good stuff. I thank you for your feedback. I just thank you for your prayers and your support. It means a whole lot to me. And so we're just gonna go ahead and jump in. This is interesting podcast, and we are here to be able to tackle some things today with a topic that is dear to my heart. Just gonna go ahead and jump into things, and we're talking about generations today. Important subject, important to I believe to should be to everyone's heart. Those who are builders, those who are legacy holders, who desire to leave a legacy in the land, all of that good stuff. This is an opportunity for us to converse and to talk and to kind of have a conversation to see where this thing is going. What is on the hearts of people, you know? So we're gonna tap in. We're gonna look at some things. Just really go over some information that I've seen, I've heard, I've witnessed, I've been given, and we're gonna converse today. How about some dialogue, some interaction with you guys? Please feel free to chime in and really share your heart concerning this matter. It's a topic once again that's dear to my heart. I do believe that God has given me the ability to cross over generations. Anybody who knows me is that I am able to talk to the oldest and reach the youngest all at the same time. And God has just given that ability. And so, with that being a passion of mine, the walk that I walk persists of making sure that that gap is being bridged between generations. And so, let's dive into it. There are once again some things that we want to tackle. Um, Once again, let's hit them. All right, generations. What are we talking about? First of all, we're talking about a time span or age group of people. Technically, we're talking about spans of time where one set of people were birthed, and then behind that or before them, there was another set of people that were born. And we're dealing with, I believe, some of the most crucial times concerning generations right now. And there's such a big, huge gap. And we talk about it all the time. I mean, in our conversations, we talk about the young and how they're careless and how they're crazy and, they can be reckless and all this other stuff. And then we talk about how the older generations, how they are so set in their ways that they are not able to see what is transpiring that's right there in front of their face and not able to relate to the younger people who are coming up behind them. And so we're going to tackle that. We're going to kind of subtly go in and speak on that. Um, I am 41, proud of it, and I look good. Ain't mad to say. 41 years old, right smack dab in the middle, and being able to have witnessed people's lives over the years, um, old and young, being having my hands in the lives literally, being a caregiver, being one who has taken care of everybody's kids. You looking and viewing right now, I probably took care of your kids. Uh, D is the one who has. Uh, I've been involved with a lot of people. Older people reach out to me. I'm a servant at heart, and so I serve the older. But the reason why I do, I found out a long time ago, and I understood very, very clearly that being around those who are older, and it's not so much just we don't want to label them as older people in the sense of the labeling as older people. It's the wisdom that they carry, and I realized long ago that sitting amongst those who are older than me, being able to participate in their life, I gained so much wisdom and I gained a lot of understanding concerning life. Just things on a daily basis, how to move, how to change things, how to shift things into places that it needed to be shifted into. Being a part of crucial points in my life, older people, the older generation has played a major part in a lot of things that I've been doing. Um, just the counsel, the just being in the presence, because I come from a generation where when your parents, your grandparents, or whoever are in a room with their friends or their comrades or whatever, that you don't go in with a whole bunch of noise and you don't speak a lot. You sit and you listen, you watch, and that's what I did. I was always with my grandparents, always with older people, period. And I've gleaned from that ability to be able to listen and to watch, and just watching how they did things and the conversations that were had. Um, it built something on the inside of me, and at the same time, being able to have that relative type of interaction with young people, where God has given me the ability to draw young people to me. Um, I used to say, I can't get rid of him. I can't get rid of him until I learned that I needed to embrace that. And now I understand even the more why. Um, Watching the freedom and the liberty that children walk in. We call it careless and reckless sometimes, but it's not that. They have such a freedom and such an ability to be able to see things way outside the box. The levels of creativity with young people, the imagination, all of that is so, so, so vital to how we live as a people, as humanity in the world that we live in currently. It's so important to have that and grasp that God was just really showing me and opening my eyes to be able to see that I can be who I am, and He's given me the resources to be able to see these kids, these children, make things happen. There's a drive and a tenacity that young people have, a motivation that they have that's like no other. And as someone who sits in the middle, I've seen where young people have surpassed even my generation in a lot of things like inventions and just witty ideas and just having creativity and motivation to push forward, being able to see things for uh, what they are, hearing the things that are not being said. Sometimes taking everything for face value can be detrimental to you. And so being able to see that thing from behind it, opposed to everything being what it quote unquote is, the imagination of a young person is what causes a nation to be able to thrive and to be able to push forward. It's the creativity that brings the longevity. Constantly using your mind in places of where to be able to forward think. These young people that I've seen and I've talked to, I witness on a daily basis, that I communicate with, the dreams and aspirations that they have, it pushes me. It pushes me to say, well, what am I really doing? What am I contributing? How can I help? Am I being a hindrance, or am I actually being one that is helping to forge them forward or to continue? Am I leaving a legacy, even a living legacy? Because you don't have to die to have a legacy. Your living legacy. What are you doing now that is impacting these people and bridging the gap between your generation and the generation to come or that's coming up? It's important that we start to analyze this, because we know that yes, the old has wisdom, but guess what? The older generations can do nothing without the strength of the youth, of the younger generations. Just like the younger generations can do nothing without the wisdom of the older generations. We have to understand that we are locked in this thing together and we cannot separate, because of difference of experience, difference of encounters, difference of whatever it is. We are locked together, and we are meant to be ladders or steps to a ladder to be able to get to the expected end. I need my nephews. I need my nieces. I need the younger people who I come in contact with, because once again, they push me to a place of freshness. They push me to a place of where I'm able to be renewed. The joy and the energy that comes with children. When you start to become up in age, let's just speak naturally, your body tends to want to slow down. You start to get comfortable. But let some young people come around you and live with you, and be a part of your life. The energy is so contagious that it actually makes your body some kind of way. It's like a psychological thing. It makes you want to push and do things that, once before you didn't think you were going to do anymore. I remember a couple of years ago, I thought it was a great idea. I'm with a bunch of kids. I do camps and stuff like that with um, non for profits and church and all of that stuff. I'm always with children. And, sometimes you get a little beside yourself, and their infectious energy that they have caused me to feel like I could just jump up and start moving around. And my body was like, whoa, do you not know the state that you're in? But it was their zeal, it was their fire, it was the running, just having so much energy to be able to do whatever they wanted to do, that caused me to feel like I used to do that and still can. And then once I realized that it wasn't as easy as it was when I was younger, it also pushed me into a place of where now I need to get back. I need to kind of go in and refine and retool some areas so that I can run with them, so that I can have that longevity that I need. And so it revealed some places that atrophied. And so I thank God for young people. I thank them for their ability to be able to, in spite of all of what they see, to still have that drive of creativity and that energy, that supernatural energy. Just it's like an energizer bunny. We talk about it all the time. Like kids, they move even in their sleep. Have you ever slept with a toddler? My God, toddlers are interesting. They don't sleep in one position. They're constantly, constantly, constantly moving. And so I don't take that by happenstance. I believe that there is something in that, even in the sleeping where they're laying down and they're constantly moving. I take all that in. But I know that God has a reason for all generations. And he has a reason for generations to be in the same time. And so I once again want to kind of speak to helping to bridge the gap between generations. It is important that we understand that as older generations, our wisdom is not to be hidden. And we have to also understand that everything that we speak, how it's delivered, how it's conveyed, is very, very important. Learning the next generations and those who are coming up, the ones that are behind us, and even those who are behind us, learning how the older generations work, it is important because I had to learn how to learn. And I'm gonna use this analogy, and I'm sure that everyone can kind of benefit from it and understand it. When I was coming up through school, through high school, through junior high and high school, and all of that, um, I had some difficulties in being able to uh, kind of learn, and I was labeled a lot of things, and it was spoken a lot of things comparing me to others, and it took for me to get to a freshman in college. I'm sorry, where my English professor sat down one day and was like, "We're gonna meet," and because you talk very well, you're in class and you participate and all that stuff. She said, "But your homework and the things that you turn in, in a sense, all that stuff, the things that I'm seeing you do, that you're actually turning in, I have some questions about." And so, of course, it brings about a nervousness, and You've already gone through junior high and high school with labels, and I had already turned into someone who was a jokester, got in trouble and all of that stuff. And but I was in sports and did all that stuff. But um, finally, it took for someone in an older generation to sit down, and I'll never forget. Her name is Miss Miller. She took me into her office and she said, "Deanna, I think you have dyslexia." And I said, "Dyslexia?" Didn't know really what it was. It was something that was introduced to me right then and there, and it changed my life. And the very thing that this lady was sharing with me, it shifted how I was able to receive, how I was able to learn. All of the things that I had struggled with years past, now the light bulb came on. But it took for someone in an older generation to sit down and see this younger woman, me, in that moment to say, okay, this is not what it is, but this is what it is, and let's help with this. That's one of the things about bridging the gap is we don't sit and we don't complain about the younger generation. That's not what our job is. We are not called to sit and complain. Let's figure out what our job is in helping to bring to pass that thing that the younger generation is coming up, passing the baton to those who are coming. That's what it's all about. I don't want to live a life um, that's strictly selfish in what I am doing right now. No, my thoughts, heart, intent, motivation is to help all those who are around me, but in particular those who are coming up because they don't know and have not witnessed. And even though I'm 41, I have witnessed and seen a lot of things in life that can help the next generation coming up. And so I'm going to charge you. I'm going to charge you to join me in this endeavor. Be that teacher, that professor that sees the problem and not just talk about the problem, but give a solution that helps shift and change someone in your life, that young person, even the older. There are some things that we see with the older generations that are before us, and there is nothing wrong with being able to say, "Man, that's an issue. Let me, God, use me. Help me to present the solution so that we can all once again bridge that gap and come together." There's not one generation that can do this thing alone. And so let's really be conscious about that and think about that. Uh, Thinking about forward movement. Because guess what? I, being the generation that I am in, I'm the last of the last on the millennials, quote unquote. I don't really go by all of that stuff. I believe that if you're in Christ, it's just the generation within Christ. But for the sake of keeping it, in the formalities of what generations are, I'm the last of the. I just got cut off. Like I just made the cutoff of millennials. And I thought about it the other day. One day I won't be here. So what do you do with all the knowledge, all the experience, all of the things that you have gone through in your life? Does that die with you? And it was a hard question because it made me really think about what am I doing? Am I planting seeds? Am I actively really producing stuff that is long lasting? Not just words. I'm not talking about just words. I'm talking about actually putting your hands in the soil and putting seeds in the ground that for future generations to come, that stuff starts to sprout up. Is it something that I'm doing right now that is going to be beneficial to my nieces and my nephews? How about just the people who will remain here on the earth after I'm gone? That's a question that we must all ask ourselves because you didn't just come here to live and die. You came here for a reason, and that reason is to help. This is a relay race. We're not doing a 100-meter dash here. We're doing a marathon. But even in the marathon, Your length of the race that you run is not the all. That's not it. That's not the end of the race. Your end is to be able to hand the baton off to someone else to continue the marathon, to continue the movement. And so, are you doing that? Are you in a position where you're helping to push and make things happen for the future? The God that I serve, he is so awesome, and so he knew the end all the way from the beginning. That type of mentality is what I'm talking about. I'm adopting that type of mentality because I need to be able to know that when I'm gone, that I'm leaving empty, and that the next generation is able to pick it up and run with it. And so I want to hear from you guys. I see a couple people on here. Um, Questions, comments. I I ask for them. Please chime in. Let me know what you're thinking, what you're hearing, what you're seeing. It's important. Let me get your feedback. I see. Hey, Elena, good to see you on here. And tomorrow, it's my sister. Love you guys. Thanks for joining me on today on Now That's Interesting podcast. Feel free if you got questions and comments, please chime in. We're talking about once again the generations, bridging the gap between generations, and the importance of doing this. It's not just it's not just living. We live with a purpose, and even in the generations, passing this information on from one to another is important. Being able to know once again that the old need the young because of their strength, and then the young need the old because of their wisdom. Why is that so important? It's important because the wisdom that the old carries, like I said, one day we're not going to be here, and the strength of the young are going to be able to continuously run with it. Write the vision down, make it plain so that those who read it will run with it. The wisdom that is needed to be able to continue life, to be able to be successful, business wise, life wise, relationship wise, personal growth wise, whatever it is, there is a wisdom that is needed to be able to carry that thing out. And as the days go by and the years go by and all of that, things need to be received to be able to have to be able to carry out. Let the young grab your wisdom so that their strength can remain or keep your that wisdom and that understanding remaining here in the earth. God needs us as generations as well, and that's why He made mankind. He didn't make mankind just for the sake of saying, "Oh, I'm Almighty God and I can make mankind." No, He has a plan and a purpose, and He knew without us He would violate the laws in which He had even created for Himself. And so it's important that He instills in us the wisdom that is needed, but He's given it to us because He has called us and knows us to be strong. Even in our old age, there is a strength that we carry. And I'm not going to keep saying, oh, like I'm old because I ain't old. But y'all know what I mean. There is an understanding that when being able to deposit wisdom into someone else, first of all, you multiply yourself. There's multiplication that takes place, meaning that you produce, or like a seed, when it goes in the ground, it's one seed, but yet it may produce what, three, four, five different plants sprouting out. And so when we plant the seeds of wisdom as the older generations and into our younger generations, just think planting one seed in one person can multiply, and next thing you know, you'll have a generation that is full, a group, a remnant of people who are able to carry the vision. And so we want to look at that. We want to look at that on the internal parts of our hearts. Examine the why we are here. Um, Wisdom is not exclusive to any one age group, and that younger generation can offer a valuable perspective to an older one. And I had wrote that down because it's important that we understand that no age is insignificant. I look at, once again, little kids. Sometimes it's so easy for them to speak and convey something because they don't have all of life to filter through. They just have zeal. And zeal is good. It is it's good. But they have that zeal and they have that ability to be able to just say something or just do it, just in blind faith. And that's because life has not hit them and hasn't consumed them in a place of where they have to filter through the what ifs. There is no what ifs a lot of times with young people. They don't care about the what ifs. They just know this is an endeavor that has been presented to me and I'm going to do it. And that type of strength and that zeal is needed in our lives individually to be able to help us to be able to see that all things are truly possible. And so I thank God for young people to have that, that thought of I can do all things, and and to know and to understand that age once again does not set the limit in what I can do. When I was growing up, a lot of my uh, a lot of my interactions and things like that, the things that I had witnessed, um, and even how I was taught, there were certain things that I was taught that I still live by today. We don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And one of the things that I was taught a lot, and it was instilled in me, was confidence. You couldn't tell me growing up that I couldn't do something. Now I've always been a heavy set girl, and so a lot of times when you're in atmospheres and you're in settings, there's an automatic title or something placed on you, a cap, and I would find myself making sure that I would not be belittled or brought down to a place to where I couldn't do something. I played all sports. I was very active. I did a lot of different things growing up. I was always doing something, and to some it looked like I shouldn't have been because of the state that I quote unquote was in. But I was always taught that you can do it. You put your mind to it. If you want to do this thing, you will succeed. I was always taught that. I was always brought up in that. And so that thing drove me through my life that nothing is impossible to me because if I want to do it, I'll do it. Uh, it's that type of thing that needs to be instilled in the younger generation and even in the older generation. Just because you're in ages of 60, 70, 80, doesn't mean that you stop and you quit and you just give it over to whomever. There is still something on the inside of you that is needed for now as well. And that we have to understand that all ages, that we can do all things. Everything is possible. And the mere fact that you're thinking about it or that is being introduced to you speaks loud. It speaks tremendously. And so I charge even now that you, no matter what your age is, that you're able to stand up in confidence, in boldness, and with full of tenacity, and having the energy that is needed to be able to accomplish what you need to accomplish. Dream. That's what we talked about last week. Was dreaming big, dreaming outside the box. Don't letting you not letting your dreams die. It doesn't matter the age. Start today. And so helping bridge that gap between the generations helps these visions and helps the wisdom and it helps all that stuff last. It lives. It thrives. And so I'm gonna share a couple of quotes with you guys. If I can get to it. All right. And once again, you guys chime in with questions and comments. Please feel free. Don't hesitate. This quote is from LaMelo Ball. Now, this is for the young people. I know this is basketball. He's a young guy, plays for the Hornets. But I found that his quote it was interesting to me, and he says history is dependent upon the new generation to write a new chapter. That spoke so much. It spoke a lot of volumes of interesting things to me. Speaking from history being things that have already become or has started, something that has already been done, and he translates that over into the new generation writing a new chapter. What's so good about that is that he's not talking about writing a whole nother book. When you think of chapters, you think of books. He's not saying writing a whole nother book, not coming up with something totally different. What he's saying is the history that has already been made, that it is asking or is dependent upon the next generation being able to come behind it and continuing on in those lessons. The good thing about when we do that is it's not that we're diminishing um, what the new carries. The new is able to make that thing. When you have a house, you go through renovations. Same house, but sometimes you just add upgrades. And it's not that you're adding upgrades because the house is bad. You're adding upgrades because of the way of living in that moment. The way that my great grandparents lived compared to how I live today, we wouldn't be able to. It wouldn't be able to work right now. Where some people had wood stoves and outhouses and all that other stuff. We're in a different time and age. And although that stuff is no longer, we don't, belittle it or downgrade it, but we learn from it and we advance. And that's what it is. This is the advancement of the generation, being able to advance what once was. When the telephone was first created, it was great. It was exciting. It was all of that. And then over the years, as people started to grow and mature and technology matured and it grew and all of that, now we have cell phones where we can walk around, and to be honest, if I lost my phone right now, Lord Jesus, I don't know what I would do. And so it goes with me everywhere. It has everything that I need in my life. Like I probably need to. Well, y'all pray for me. It's hard, but look at the elevation. Look at how things progressed. It's not that the beginning of that invention of the phone that it was diminished, but over the years, the necessity to be able to evolve it and to grow it, to mature it was needed. And now look where we are. Could you imagine living in the time that we're living in right now with the demand that we have on our everyday life, having to call an operator to send us to someone else to call? The time that it takes to do those type of things, just the simplistic things of everyday life, um, because of society and how it's been built, having to resort to go back to that, it wouldn't match and it would create so much frustration. And so, in this, knowing that we have opportunity to evolve things, we're writing new chapters of the book, and history appreciates that. That was just a really good quote for me. I don't know once again about you, but that was good. LaMelo Ball. Once again, history is dependent on the new generation to write a new chapter. That's good stuff. Another quote. This is from Simon Sinek. It says, "Leadership is not about the next election; it's about the next generation." And he's talking about, it's talking about leadership and politics and things like that. But it's really not about who's going to be elected. It's about who is going to help perpetuate this thing. Who is going to help bring solve to the issues? Who is thinking forward and causing the next generation to be equipped to be able to move and to live in strength? How to use their strength, the wisdom to be able to know how to build something that is long lasting, that's not just something that they don't just come here to live and to die. Like, the elections are the election of leadership, period, because you have to be elected by God, by whoever. We'll bring it simplistic, the president, the governor, the whoever. There has to be more than just the prize of the election. It's the ability to be able to set up our next generation to become prosperous, to be able to become winners, victorious in their areas as well, setting them up to be able to have the ability to be able to build something that is long lasting. It is nothing for us to have all of this understanding and build in our generation only for us to die off and transition, and it goes with us. And so that I thought that was just really good. It's not about the election only. It's about what we're building on the inside of the next generation. Amen. You know, it is important that we're pouring into them. Guess what? If you don't pour into the young people around you, the next generation, somebody will. Somebody is going to take it upon themselves to pour into your children. Somebody's going to take it upon themselves to pour into your neighbor's kids, teenagers, and once again, I don't want to just predicate it to young people and old people, but anybody. I look at myself and who am I allowing to pour into me, and am I receiving what they are pouring into me? And that doesn't always have to be the older. Sometimes young people can pour into you as well. But am I allowing that to happen? Am I seeing what needs to be seen concerning the poor? And on top of that, am I allowing the right poor? Because it's not just those who pour into that have a responsibility, it's also those who are being poured into that have a responsibility. And discerning and understanding and knowing how to pour is one thing, but once again, being able to have a heart that receives the wisdom, the understanding, the counsel, the direction, the instruction, all of that is important as well. It's vital to life. We are not an island that is to ourselves. We never were meant to be that way. We were never meant to live alone. We need people. We need people. We need people. It's the ability to be able to understand how to rightly use or take part of the resources that are people that is what helps build our lives. And so in these places, really understanding that those people who are around us, are they pouring into us? Are they the right type of pour? And then on top of that, are you in return doing the same thing? I once again, I don't do things by myself. I have counsel. I take in wisdom. I constantly read. All of that good stuff. But then I don't ever want to be in a place where I'm so full and spiritually obese and knowledge obese, to where I get to a place where I don't share. I'm a fountain, and water fountains are meant to flow, is meant to go. There's any water that is stagnant is nasty water, is toxic water. And so I always want to be one that constantly flows, that to where someone, when they come around, that they're able to drink from my fountain, that they're able to drink from my water, from my well, and I in return I have to be replenished. And so are you being replenished, but then are you also actually being offered up as a vessel to be drunk from? That's what bridging the gap is all about. It's not our personal foolishness. We think we know everything. We think that uh man, I tell you, we don't be a gatekeeper. And we know what that means nowadays. You want to be a gatekeeper. You want to be one who sits and is able to guard the transitions between generations. That's great. Be a watchman. Be a watchman. Be able to sit at those gates with eyes wide open. But don't become a gatekeeper to where things are hoarded on your side or hoarded on the other side, and it never creates a flow in between. Gates are meant to be opened and closed, and they're meant to be open so that things can transition. When you think of a kingdom, And you think about, I watch shows and movies about this stuff all the time. I love it. Medieval times, and it shows you a lot of things spiritually. But when you saw gatekeepers, those watchmen who sat on the wall, on the towers, when you see them, you know that they are guarding something that's important, and that's the entrance and the exit that goes into that kingdom, that domain, that place. But then it also is what's on the outside of it as well. There's dangers and there's things that happen on the outside of those gates, and yes, there is a need for people to be able to guard those places of entry. But then at the same time, there is information and things that need to flow through those gates to get to the other side that benefit the decrees and the declarations that come from that king or that kingdom that needs to get through. Liken it unto our generations, being able to understand that that gate holds a very significant place where transactions are made. There is councils that take place in that place of gate, in the gates. And so we don't want to become people who are harsh and only consider what we have on our side of the gate. Let's sit in the council of wisdom to be able to know what comes and goes, what to open the gate up to and what to close the gate to. It's important, and that both sides are the beneficiaries of these things. So, once again, you guys, I'm asking for, questions. What do you have? What's your thoughts on this? What is what comments? What are you hearing? What are you seeing? What is it that you witnessed in your life, your kids, things and examples and things that have happened to you, that you've learned, situations. Let's talk about it. Let me hear from you. Hey, Jessica, good to see you on the line. Glad to see you. Thank you for joining. Les, it's good to see you as well. Amen. It's a man. It's a joy. It's a joy to be able to come and to partake with you guys. Um, once again, these generations, you look at all through the Bible, you look at life period. I go back to people bridging those gaps and things like that. We can take it to something that's very simplistic, like mentorship. You know, I have a mentor in doing what I do in multiple areas. We all know that I do graphic design, logos and all that other stuff. I'm doing this podcast now. I've been working with media for almost 20 years. Um, it's just a lot of things that I do, but I don't do it just solely off of what I have learned. I attach myself to people who have understanding and experience as well. And they have already dug out these places. Some of this stuff people have already, plowed the way. And so it would be foolish of me just to try to reinvent the wheel. I attach myself to people. I get mentors for a reason to be able to help prosper my way. Their wisdom on how to do things is important. And so I charge you to be in a place of a mentor or to seek out mentorship, someone to mentor you. It's important. Gain the knowledge, gain the wisdom, gain the understanding. When I look out through the Bible, I see different points of strong mentorship. I look at Jethro and Moses, who is a big one. Moses was struggling, trying to lead these people, and they're all coming to him with all these issues. And they took the wisdom of Jethro, his father-in-law, to be able to say, "Look, man, you are not going to last. You're going to burn yourself out. Go find you some people that have like minds and like spirits that you can pour into and give them charge over the people." And in that wisdom, it helped them strive, and it took the pressure off of Moses. Now he still had his issues, but at the same time, it helped in pushing and making things happen. Just by one conversation with someone who carried wisdom to be able to see and have insight into a problem, brought that solution, and it shifted a whole nation. I think about Elijah and Elisha, being able to be with someone to with them, to be undergirded by someone, a mentee, who is watching their lives, and also in return, like I said, someone who was under their wing as a mentee to the mentor ended up getting passed down the very mantle that his mentor, quote unquote, uh, carried. And he ended up transforming and becoming someone that's very, very influential, and someone who I look to in the word a lot. That transition, it's important. I think about Ruth and Naomi. Um, this woman, she lost everything. She lost her sons. She lost livestock. I mean, everything. Naomi, despite her grief, mentored Ruth and brought her into a place of where she was a legacy builder in and of herself. The transition between mentor and mentee in that story is so tremendous. It actually shaped Ruth and brought her into a faith, and ended up being to where she was so dedicated. Man, she literally found new life. And so we can't think about things that nothing is insignificant. What you carry, how you transition things, uh, what you give to the next generation is important. Let's think about things like Mordecai and Esther. Now, this is a very powerful story because Mordecai constantly spoke words of, it was some hard things to Esther, but there were so many things that she learned and she gleaned from that got her into the palace, that got her into a position where she would be queen. But even in the preparation of it all, the counsel that she was receiving came from Mordecai. He was a voice that she needed to help her keep continuing it. Because how many of you know that in that story, or in just life period, sometimes things can get so hard that you want to quit, or you feel like that things are just not worth it. It is not worth it to be in this position, or I'm not going to make it. You need a clear, strong voice to be able to help motivate and continuously encourage you to keep going. Mentors have that ability to do that. People, leaders, um, those who are able to speak into your life and pour into your life should have the ability to be able to help you continue to go forward. And so Mordecai was able to speak to her and give her clarity and help her understand that, yeah, you're getting ready to go into some deep waters, but it's not for loss. And she ended up going in, and her words to herself was, if I perish, I'll perish. But at all costs, I got to get this thing done for the glory of God ultimately, because they knew that their people was getting ready to die because of an ordinance that was sanctioned out. But she took the strength of the counsel and the wisdom from Mordecai and the prayers and all of that, the backing that came with him. And she was able to move and go through every situation, every level, precept upon precept, with a confidence and understanding that even in the midst of this, if I die, I have already accomplished what I needed to accomplish. There's something in that. And so let's be those people to help those around us, the younger generation. Let the older, or those who carry wisdom, to be able to pour into younger so that they can do that very thing, accomplish what they have been sent out to do. Let's sit down and have conversations and learn from one another, glean from one another the strength and the wisdom, coupling that together. Can you imagine a people coming together and being able to walk in wisdom but have the strength to carry it? It's unstoppable. And so I charge you once again today to be a part of that. Be a part of the move that helps bridge the gap between the generations, and to help be able to make a wise, strong people. All right. Coming up on getting ready to get off of here. Um, I once again, this topic is something that is dear to my heart. Love young people. I love my generation. I love those who are before me. And just having the ability to be able to gather them and the grace to be able to gather them, to be able to speak to all generations is something that I thank God for that ability. And I pray that this broadcast that it helps kind of jolt you into seeing where your part is. Are you really, really pouring into those around you? Or are you just speaking about the problems that you see? It like once again does nothing to acknowledge the problem and not yet bring a solution. It's crazy. It's actually insanity. Because the epitome of insanity is you constantly wanting something different, but yet you don't do anything different. You constantly do the same thing over and over, expecting different results. That doesn't work. You want something different, do something different. You want to see change, then be the change. Set up futuristically, not just for right now. Set up for down the road. Set up the legacy. Live it, but also know that when you transition that there is something that remains as well. It's important. All right. Well, it has been good talking to you guys. And once again, if you guys have questions or comments, feel free to put them down in the chat. I will come back around. If you did not get a chance while we were on live, I will comment back to you and all of that good stuff. And it has been a pleasure, a pleasure to be on here again with you. I'm looking forward to being with you next week. Um, as always, you can always send me inboxes if you have questions, suggestions, topics, and things that you have on your mind. Even if you have something concerning this broadcast today, feel free if you want to do it privately or if you have a testimony or something that you would like to share, please feel free inbox me or you can email me at nowthat'sinterestingpodcast@gmail.com. Website is coming up soon. You'll be able to patch in there. Or you can find me on all platforms and social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm here right here on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. And now I'm on TikTok. So you guys feel free to take a minute, comment, and do all that. I ask you that you like, share, and subscribe this broadcast today. And once again, look forward to being able to see you again and interact with you again in the upcoming weeks. Love you all. Love you so, so very much. And has been once again my delight and my pleasure to be able to converse with you. And I will talk to you soon. Have a blessed one.
Welcome to Now That's Interesting Podcast, where we explore forms of everyday technology that impact every generation, from purpose to relationships and personal growth. If you in your car, on lunch break, or chilling on the couch at home, get ready to have real talk, honest insights, and conversations that make you think. Now that's interesting. Now let's talk about it with our host, D.